Humans are capable of survival, just like any other living creatures. But survival alone requires not only eating, breathing, or even sleeping. Massive flash floods, volcanic eruptions, and a global threat of coronavirus. Our survival is clearly tested, and you are lucky because you are still alive. By the time you're watching this video, I know for sure that you are grateful with the circumstances of your survival. But how is survival related to the concept of VUCA? Let's find out the answer only here on DepEd Dabnor Tele-Aralan. Hi there! Welcome to English 9, an exciting time as there are many opportunities for you to succeed. This is Sir Julius, ready to impart the knowledge, skills, and life lessons that you can't refuse. Before we begin, let's find out what you have learned from our last episode. If your answer is true, clap once. If your answer is false, clap twice. Let's get started. Number 1. Antagonist is the central character of a story. Is it true or false? Number 2. The featured sequence in revealing the facts of a plot is called exposition. Is it true or false? Number 3. Conflict is the opposition of persons or forces giving rise to dramatic action. Is it true or false? Number 4. Theater is an individual form of performing art. True or false? And number 5, the 6 elements of theater are plot, character, thought, diction, music, and spectacle. True or false? Good job! Thank you for trying your best in answering the questions. Now, let us see if your answers are correct. Number 1. Antagonist is the central character of a story. The correct answer is false, because the central character of a story is protagonist. Number 2. The featured sequence in revealing the facts of a plot is called exposition. The correct answer is true. This is called the exposition. It is the background information of the characters and setting explained at the beginning of the story. The exposition will often have information about events that happened before the story began. The exposition is often the very first part of a plot. Number 3. Conflict is the opposition of persons or forces giving rise to dramatic action. The correct answer is true. In literature and film, conflict is a clash between two opposing forces that creates narrative thread for a story. Conflict occurs when the main character struggles with either an external conflict or an internal conflict. 5 common types of conflict are man versus self, man versus society, man versus man, man versus nature, and man versus supernatural being. Number 4. Theater is an individual form of performing art. The correct answer is false, because theater is a collaborative form of performing art that uses live performers, usually actors or actresses, and the people behind the stage, such as stage directors, to present the experience of a real or imagined event before a live audience in a specific place or a stage. Number 5. The 6 elements of theater are plot, character, thought, diction, music, and spectacle. The correct answer is true. Did you get them all correct? Wow! Amazing! You made it! I think you are now ready to learn new lesson. In today's episode, we will unfold the world of literature as I am going to introduce to you the concept of VUCA, or which stands for volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. Our goals in this lesson are to clarify understanding about VUCA, its historical and theoretical foundations, integrate the VUCA concept of VUCA to literature in connection to social issues, and ways social issues expressed in literature. The concept of VUCA is clearly manifested in your survival. No matter how volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous your situation is, you are surviving in this world. Literature indeed reflects the society, its good values, and its ill values. In its collective functions, literature mirrors the ills of the society with a view of realizing its mistakes and making amendments. Values are passed from culture to culture, from generation to generation. However, in this modern time, it is claimed by scientists that change in the society has been happening at a pace they have never seen before. Everything can change with just a snap. They refer it as the VUCA world: volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous world. The term VUCA is widely known theoretical leadership acronym of Warren Bennis and Bert Nanus to describe or to reflect to the volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity of general situations and conditions. VUCA shows the unpredictable nature of the world. For example, the COVID-19. V for volatility deals with the nature and dynamic of change. Our current situation is really an unexpected scenario. From the normal daily life where we can freely go out without face mask, and hug our friends without doubt, to the new normal where we are limited to social gatherings and activities. See, in just a matter of single yet powerful virus, the world just suddenly changed. And that's how volatile is all about. And every day, we face sudden changes that requires adjustments. U4 uncertainty is the lack of predictability. The COVID-19 alone is an unpredictable phenomenon, and until now, we cannot even predict when it would last. Just like our lives, can we predict when we die? That is uncertainty. C4 complexity is the compounding or the confusions of issues. For instance, the news about the vaccines given to us Filipinos is of complexity because there are issues as to which would be effective or ineffective against COVID-19. Whether we use Oxford Uni AstraZeneca, Moderna, Pfizer, Gamaleya, or the Sputnik 5 and Sinovac. Well, that is really confusing, especially that each vaccine has different efficacy. And finally, A4 ambiguous is about potential ideas or standpoint for misjudgment or something that gives confusions and different meaning. News about COVID-19 are sometimes misleading, especially those are not credible websites or pages. This apparently creates confusion or misleading information for us people. So, adaptation is a real challenge when we talk about VUCA situations. The concept of VUCA is really tough, right? In fact, when we are reading literatures, this concept is expressed in the conflict among characters. It could be social discriminations, religious conflicts, love conflicts, and even personal challenges. These conflicts are the central point of the story where the characters need to overcome. In effect, we readers can greatly connect what we read in our present situation. This time, grab your pen and paper as I share the story about A Raisin in the Sun by Lorraine Hansberry, and try to answer the following guide questions. What is the story all about? Identify the volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity of the story. Ready? Let's get started!
A Raisin in the Sun. A Raisin in the Sun is a play by Lorraine Hansberry that debuted on Broadway in 1959. The title comes from the poem Harlem, also known as A Dream Deferred by Langston Hughes. The story tells of a black family's experiences in South Chicago as they attempt to improve their financial circumstances with an insurance payout following the death of the father. The New York Drama Critics Circles named it the best play of 1959, and in recent years, publications such as The Independent and Time Out have listed it as among the best plays ever written. Plot: Walter and Ruth Younger, their son Travis, along with Walter's mother Alina and Walter's younger sister Benita, live in poverty in a dilapidated two-bedroom apartment on Chicago's South Side. Walter is barely making a living as a limousine driver. Though Ruth is content with their lot, Walter is not, and desperately wishes to become wealthy. His plan is to invest in a liquor store in partnership with Willie and Bobo, his street-smart acquaintances. At the beginning of the Harlem play, Walter Lee and Benita's father has recently died, and Mama is waiting for the life insurance check for $10,000. Walter has a sense of entitlement to the money, but Mama has a religious objection to alcohol, and Benita has to remind him it is Mama's call how to spend it. Eventually, Mama puts some money down on the new house, choosing an all-white neighborhood over a black one for the practical reason that it happens to be much cheaper. Later, she relents and gives the rest of the money to Walter to invest, with the provision that he reserve $3,000 for Benita's education. Walter gives all the money to Willie, who absconds with it, depriving Walter and Benita of their dreams, though not the youngest of their new home. Meanwhile, Carl Lindner, a white representative of the neighborhood they plan to move to, makes a generous offer to buy them out. He wishes to avoid neighborhood tensions over the interracial population, which of the three women's horror Walter prepares to accept as a solution to their financial setback. Lena says that while money was something they tried to work for, they should never take it if it was a person's way of telling them they weren't fit to walk the same earth as they. Meanwhile, Benita's character and direction in life are influenced by two different men who are potentially love interests. Her wealthy and educated boyfriend, George Merkson and Joseph Asake. Neither man is actively involved in the younger's financial ups and downs. George represents the fully assimilated black man who denies his African heritage with a smarter-than-thou attitude, which Benita finds disgusting, while dismissively mocking Walter's situation. Joseph, a Yoruba student from Nigeria, patiently teaches Benita about her African heritage. He gives her thoughtfully useful gifts from Africa, while pointing out she is unwittingly assimilating herself into white ways. She straightens her hair, for example, which she characterized as mutilation. When Benita becomes distraught at the loss of the money, she is scolded by Joseph for her materialism. She eventually accepts his point of view that things will get better with a lot of effort, along with his proposal of marriage and his invitation to move with him to Nigeria to practice medicine. Walter is oblivious to the stark contrast between George and Joseph. His pursuit of wealth can be attained only by liberating himself from Joseph's culture, to which he attributes his poverty, and by rising to George's level, wherein he sees salvation. Walter redeems himself and Black Pride at the end by changing his mind and not accepting the buyout offer, stating that the family is proud of who they are and will try to be good neighbors. The play closes with the family leaving for their new home but uncertain future.
This play tells the story of a lower-class black family's struggle to gain middle-class acceptance. How is the concept of VUCA integrated in this play? Let us try to weigh some issues from the play that are relevant to the real world. For volatility, the death of their love had been an unexpected event. Thus, the family created to make adjustments of their situation by trying to invest the $10,000 insurance of Walter Lee's mom, Lena, or known in the story as Mama. In this situation, the change of their family setup has challenged the younger family. Just like in real life, we do not actually know when our loved ones will leave us. It was also uncertain for the younger family the financial challenges they faced in the play. It got even worse when Willie, a trusted friend of Walter Lee, took off the money for their business investment. In that context, it was uncertain for Walter Lee to encounter such kind of friend. We cannot really predict the intentions of the people surrounding us. The complex twist in the story happens in the different conflicts presented by the author. The death of Walter Lee's father, the social discrimination between black and white, a friend who is not trustworthy. Ambiguity entirely focuses on the miscommunication and misunderstanding among the characters. How can we connect the concept of VUCA when reading literatures? Here are the significant tips. Number 1. Study the characters. What are the challenging roles they experience in the story? Take time to research on the background of the writer. Sometimes, literary works reflects the situation of the writer in writing the literature, be it in a play, novel, poem, short story, and the like. Focus on the theme and conflict of the literary piece. It's always on the theme and conflict we can identify the volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity of the story. In this way, you will be able to determine the unchanging values in life from the story. In reading literature, we can always see reflections of ourselves, the people encountered, and the world we are living. This time, grab your pen and paper as we answer this short quiz. Do not worry if you find it difficult. What's important is you're willing to learn. Let's get started. Number 1. They were the first to introduce the concept of VUCA during the Cold War. Is it A. Benis and Nuna? B. Benus and Nanus? C. Benis and Nanus? Or D. Ben and Nanis? The correct answer is C. Great job! Number 2. It is the ultimate purpose of VUCA for the characters to overcome the challenges in any kind of literature. Is it A. Adaptation? B. Love? C. Flexibility? Or D. Negativity? The correct answer is A. You got it right. Number 3. The unpredictable phenomenon like COVID-19 is an example of what event in the VUCA concept? Is it A. Volatility? B. Uncertainty? C. Complexity? Or D. Ambiguity? The correct answer is B. Amazing! Number 4. What was the main challenge that the younger family encountered in the play A Raisin in the Sun? Is it A. Physical? B. Religious? C. Death? Or D. Financial? The correct answer is D. Fantastic! Number 5. VUCA was first used as the main aspect of what field? A. Business. B. Leadership. C. Education, or D. Sports? The correct answer is B. Perfect! Did you get them all correct? Very good! It looks like you're through with this lesson. Congratulations for actively engaging in each of the activities prepared for you. Always remember that literature reflects our life. As we read them, let us try to ponder the lessons we learn to make a better perspective of how we live in this world. This has been Sir Julius, ready to impart the knowledge, skills, and life lessons that you can't refuse. See you again on our next episode in English 9. Thank you, and see you next time. Bye!